Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Written Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. And today we got a plethora of people hanging out with us and getting ready to go. Did we lose somebody? I think we lost somebody already.
No, did we?
Yeah, I think we had not counting.
No. Maybe this is it. See, folks, I'm already lost.
I feel like we're doing the Brady Bunch here.
Oh, dude, we've only had it like once where it was everybody, all 9 of us, and it was fun because you're like, hey, what's going on? Yes, folks, we have all this old sense of humors, so get used to it. What do you want?
I'd like to take the center square to block.
There we go. You know, somebody's out there going, what the hell are we talking about?
I actually flip my camera just so I can like point to people accurately and stuff and like look in directions and know where they're going, because my standard camera has me doing it backwards and it was driving me crazy trying to figure it out.
I think that's what I need to do, because every time I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, you got to go that way. There you go.
Yeah. It throws me off so bad. It's just so much easier to have it mirrored, and like the words are backwards, but like I can point and say like, hey, Drake, how are you doing? And know that it's going to work. And I like that.
All right, folks. We are here on the show. We are live. We're having fun. And you know how this works. Drake, why don't you tell the people who you are, what you do, all the good stuff. Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Don't start with me. I'm not prepared. So I've been in the toy and collectible industry for over 25 years, which sadly is longer than some of your viewers have been alive, I think.
Probably.
And I do a lot of PR work as well as licensing for the toy and collectibles industry. And this Sunday at the Museum of the Moving Image in Queens, Sam First from Trick or Treat Studios and I will be having a seminar on licensing and bringing licensed product to market.
Nice.
Ooh,
like that.
Which will be fascinating, and I encourage you all to attend.
that's
Also,
really
even if you can't make it for the seminar, I encourage everyone to visit the Museum of the Moving Image. It's a wonderful museum filled with artifacts from the history of film and television, and so much cool stuff there. I've been going for, I want to say 20 years, but I don't know if it's really been there for 20 years. But I've been going for a very long time, and every time I go, I feel like there's something new.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I really wishing I didn't live in Arkansas right now, because I'm like, man, that's a long drive.
But you know what? It's worth it.
I drove all the way from Arizona. So, Mike, why don't you tell the people a little bit about what you guys are gonna like talk about while you're there? Because I know a lot of people sitting there going, "Wait a minute, I'm interested in this already."
Well, there's licensing itself can be boring, but it's the behind the scenes of licensing and actually producing things that that hold a wealth of funny stories, for lack of a better term. Just off the top of my head, in the early days of scanning people to turn them into statues and action figures, there was one popular actress who had a hit TV show who refused to approve her scan because she said it didn't look like her. So they made the company resculpt it by hand.
Wow.
And then when it came out, everybody was like, why does her nose look weird? Because in her mind, now I'm not.
Why doesn't this look like her?
I'm not saying this person had body dysmorphia, but the way they perceived their nose and the rest of the world perceived their nose was very, very different.
Oh boy.
And and that's just one of the fun things we'll be talking about.
Dude, Drake has amazing stories, folks.
That brings up so much trauma.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Another thing that comes up a lot is if you have an ensemble cast in either a TV show or a movie, and one of them doesn't believe they're as short or as heavy as they are, and you're making figures of all of them, you can slim somebody down a little bit. But if somebody's known, like I'm a fat guy. If I said I want my action figure to be thin, everybody that saw that action figure would go, "Well, he's a little bit bigger than that. Why did you, whoop?" And likewise, if somebody's really short and you make them the same height as the other characters, someone will say, "But that guy's, Danny DeVito."
A tall, skinny Danny DeVito doesn't work in your taxi place. It doesn't fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the arguments you sometimes deal with, and I always like to point to Batman Returns. I think we're all old enough to remember when Batman Returns was in the theater, right?
Yeah, 92. It was 92.
Okay.
I wasn't born yet, so.
Hi, Nathan.
Nathan was going to say something.
When that movie came out, there was a Robin action figure, but Robin's not in that movie. And the reason for that is that Damon Wayans was signed on to play Robin.
He got royalties on that movie.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in it.
I didn't even know that he was supposed to be in it. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah,
see, I know this story though.
The action figure is actually a darker color than the others to try and match Damon Wayans' skin tone. And the toy company had gotten such an early version of the script and everything was approved that they just ran with it, sculpted everything, and then by the time they realized that Robin was not in it, it was too late to take it out of the assortment. So they just got released. And we're like,
I had no idea.
What's going on here? Why is Robin in this
a little darker
assortment?
Why is he in this? We wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was something I never knew. Never knew that.
I always love to tell the story of Slimer's butt.
Uh-oh.
You all know Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So what you may not know about his buttocks is that they were sculpted.
I know a lot about his buttocks now. Just check your privilege. I know.
So if you pull out your no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
If you pull out your Tobin Spirit Guide, you turn to page 384.
Exactly. His buttocks were made to resemble John Belushi's. They
wow. Yeah.
Deliberately done to do that. They deliberately did that because John was supposed to be in the movie as a Ghostbuster, and then we know what happened. But that was Dan Aykroyd's way of including him in the movie, even though he wasn't there. Now, fast forward a few years later to the Ghostbusters cartoon. In the cartoon, Slimer does not have buttocks. They gave him a tail. So then not a lot happened in the world of Ghostbusters licensing after Ghostbusters 2. But then when they started to push it again before they rebooted the series, they didn't want Slimer to have buttocks. They were like, no, it's just smooth back there, or you could do the tail. But when you look at the reference photos, clearly the buttocks are there. And they're very well sculpted. You can tell that they spent a lot of time on this. This was next
As
level
have we.
sculpt. Wasn't just an afterthought.
Wow.
We were working on a Slimer action figure, and the studio kept saying he doesn't have buttocks. And we were like, no, we have reference photos. He 100% definitely has buttocks. And they refused to approve it, and Dan Aykroyd had to get involved.
Wow.
And make the studio approve it. Now, I'm sure the studio would tell a different story. They'd be like, well, we consulted with Mr. Aykroyd. And it was like, no, he called and said, what the heck?
It wasn't you this time.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm usually the first guy.
So it's lots of fun behind-the-scenes things like that. Also, Chucky, off the top of my head, Chucky is a huge pain in the tuchus because
Well,
Chucky,
at that height, he's gonna be.
Exactly.
I'm talking about Chucky from Child's Play, not Chucky from Rugrats, who's also
But if we're being honest, both of them,
Both of them, yeah.
both a problem.
But Chucky, there's not, with an actor, you can point to Scarlett Johansson and say, well, this is Scarlett Johansson. This is what she looks like.
Right.
This is how tall she is. This is how much she weighs. These are her measurements. With Chucky, I hate to say this, but there's not really a Chucky. There's dozens of Chucky, even for the first movie.
Yeah.
Because there's little people in costumes. There's partial animatronics. There's full body animatronics. There's some that are, you could call them animatronics, but they're not really. They're just like a doll that they've put a motor in to do one motion, like when the mother throws Chucky into the fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
That doll it doesn't exist anymore because they actually burned it. It was just rigged to shake violently. So not really an animatronic, but motorized in a way. Each one of these has a different height to them. So Chucky's kind of 3 feet tall, and we kind of have his dimensions. But even during the course of the movie, the longer the spirit inhabits the doll, I can't believe we're having a serious conversation about this. The longer the spirit inhabits
I like
the doll,
So
the more human he becomes, so his face changes
Yeah.
throughout the course of the film. So if you look at a shot of Chucky when he's just, a doll, and then Chucky near the end, it's a very, very different sculpture. So you always have somebody going, you didn't get it right. And it's like, well, no, we did. We have reference photos, and in this part of the movie, this is
I remember it differently.
Yes.
Like, well, yeah, I'm sure you do, because your memory isn't a photo. We've got photos.
And that's one of the many difficulties of making Chucky. Whenever you have a rabid fan base, people have very strong opinions.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
Does it
indeed.
need to be a rabid fan base?
No, there's things you could do without a rabid fan base, and sometimes you just get lots of casual fans. I think that, and they already hate me, so I'll say Funko, they're not hoping for people that are rabid fans. They're basing a lot on the casual fan.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I have to get something for Bill for his birthday, but I don't really know Bill. I think he said he watches The Office. Let me get him a Funko Pop from The Office.
He likes Superman. Let me get him one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like for people buying $10 and under gifts, Funko Pops are there.
I never really got the appeal of Funko Pops. I don't know. Of course, if they give me a deal, I'll pretend like I'm a big fan.
Oh yeah, when they do their Mighty Call line, I'm going to be a big fan and big supporter of them.
I'll be like, I always liked Funko Pops.
Doesn't it like I do a lot of cons, right? And I see the vendors and
Funkos,
all of them, right? And doesn't like I'm just asking you get everybody's opinion on this because I don't know, right? Like my son's into them, right? He buys them, and I honestly don't find the value in them. Where remember we all kind of remember Beanie Babies, right?
Tell him to get onto Good Smile Company figures like the wonderful Nendoroids that are actually worth the price of the figure.
Yeah. But it just kind of reminds me Beanie had his phase, right? Had his but I don't think like Funko Pop's going away. But like my whole thing is they're making so many of like the same thing. So it's like, all right, like say the Simpsons, right? Could be a perfect example. There's a crap load of Simpsons, right? And my son has a bunch of them. They could be Homer using a lawnmower, and then he's fading into the grass. But like, if they're kind of putting out so many of them, doesn't that devalue what they really are worth? Even
well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
they'll be like, oh, there's Venom Spider-Man. There's more venomous Spider-Man. There's slightly grayer. Like they keep doing that. I noticed they'll do a lot. There's a Venom version of
this is Venom, but in a different pose.
Exactly.
It's just the same thing over and over again, but it's manufactured collectibles, and they're never going to be worthwhile.
Let Mr. Drake speak on this.
But you see, we're really talking about two different things here because first, there's the people that are collecting purely as an investment, and I kind of dislike those people because, as we learned in Toy Story 2. When you keep your toys mint in box, they go insane. And that's not a happy life for them. So I don't think I have anything that's still in the box. I buy my stuff, I open it, I display it, that's it. The only time something will be in a box is if I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet, and then it'll stay in the box for maybe a week or a month.
Right, you're going to space it out, put it...
Exactly.
Right.
So that's one half of the collectors. Anybody that's going up to the Funko booth and buying bags of stuff, they're buying it to resell or as an investment. If you're just an individual buying because you like this figure, I understand doing tons of variants because there could be a favorite scene or a favorite show that you really identify with. I've been watching The Simpsons for years. I don't watch as much anymore, but I love Ned Flanders as the devil.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
Yeah, that's another great example though. I bet there's a lot of people that ski that if they saw a stupid sexy Flanders figure would say,
I would snag that up. I don't like Funko at all. I would snag that up so fast.
So it's a lot of that. And also I'm a sucker for anything that glows in the dark. So in the early days of like Comic-Con, when you did an exclusive, everybody would say, "Oh, make it glow in the dark." Make it glow in the dark or make it boxed or make it gold plated were like the three easy things for everybody to do. Sometimes all three.
Yeah, I've seen those. The gold plated, glow in the dark, and
yeah, and clear. That's another easy one. So cast it in clear, cast it in glow in the dark, gold plate it. All easy things.
What about RGB?
See, it was glow-in-the-dark clear plastic before we gold-plated it. You just have to trust us on this. It's hitting all the boxes, baby.
You know, somewhere there's somebody looking at a dunny going, I think maybe.
Exactly.
Just maybe.
Oh, man. Folks, you guys, if you get a chance, go on Sunday. Go check Drake out at the museum. And, he has so many stories. And he's always a lot of fun to talk to. So.
Which museum is this? Which museum?
What's that?
Which museum?
The Museum of the Moving Image in New York.
and we could just go in, pay a fee, and we just see it? It's not an extra exhibition?
No.
How much will it cost?
Actually, for this, they're letting you in for free.
What is this again? I'm sorry, I came in late. You guys.
Hey, that's making that trip from Arkansas a lot better incentive there, babe. I'm telling you, it's free. It's just going to cost us $300 to drive there, and then it's free.
Dude,
Hey,
Drake,
come
I
on.
feel like you got a lot of people's attention all of a sudden. It's like, did he say free?
Except for yourself.
You know, Ralph, for us it only costs $2.90.
I'm
forgot
already
they rose the
going.
price.
I don't know about you, but I think you're working now.
Ralph, you forget. We live next to Queens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm already going.
And
Well,
you didn't
yeah,
even bother
yeah.
to invite me. Drake,
You're
you
working.
need to message me too individually because sometimes
I'm
Ralph
sorry.
doesn't let me know
No.
these things.
Drake, Nathan has been working his butt off, and he usually works on Sunday. So I was like, there's no reason to tell him.
See, remember why I'm not in the warehouse too much back when you were still there? Because he would just forget to tell me until he was already there.
You gotta love Nathan. So, folks, I'll put this up one more time so you can see it. And you just heard Drake say it's free.
Free.
I have a feeling a bunch of people are about to show up on Sunday.
I hope so.
Is it free only for this Sunday, or is it free like?
It's free only for this Sunday.
Look, it's even limited time offer, folks. Come on, what else do you want?
That's what I'm saying.
Good stories, limited time offer. It's free. Come on, folks. I love what Izzy said. To be honest, I forget about Nathan too.
Oh, you forget about me until you need me to hand out 300 flyers. Thanks, Izzy.
Ow. Oh, Nathan getting some love tonight already.
It's the lack of camera, man. I'm not forgetting about anybody else on here. You know, the question is, what do you got to hide? That's the question. That's what the people want to know.
I
have also saying, a lot of folks are saying, "Why
open Kickstarters on my desk right now?" Let's put it that way.
By the way, I wanted to say, Mr. Fish, you and I have a strange thing in common.
Ooh.
We've both received death threats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
like from the same person, or I mean, it's kind of a wide ranging. It's a wider net than you would think.
I mean, we live in New York. We get death threats all the time.
When we were doing the Breaking Bad action figures, we got a lot of death threats.
Did you
really?
And,
really?
Yeah. Because remember they said they pulled them out of stores? There was
I remember that
protest. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because now Fisher Price has them as part of their Little People line.
Really?
I didn't know that.
No, they swear.
Oh my god, I want to get those.
Actually, I think Fisher Price Little People are going down the route of Funko, in that little kids don't really, I hope,
play with them anymore.
I was about to ask this question too.
So I think it's just parents going, "Oh my god, this is hilarious," and buying it and giving it to the kid, or people like me, the uncle that lives far away, buying it and sending it. Which is what you also do with musical instruments and
oh my god, I've given out so many drum sets. Oh my god. And I will continue to.
See, because kazoos are better because they're small and kids will just find them and then
I'm sure the parents love that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure they do.
And they always say the same thing. Thank you, Ralph, for giving us such a wonderful toy. I'm like, you're welcome.
But Mr. Fish, how did you?
And then when the kid walks away, he's like, "We're gonna kill you. We're gonna kill you."
You were saying, Drake?
I said, Mr. Fish, how did you handle your death threats?
Oh man. Usually, I mean, it depends on the situation because, as I said, it's happened more times than you would think.
What did you do?
I was not always the sweet old man that I am now. And like my kids like to say all of their friends think that this is just Mr. Fish's neighborhood over here and would never believe the stories from when I was a younger, stupider man. But there have been a lot of times I've stared down the barrel of a gun. Let's just say that. And most of the time, false bravado and ridiculous threats would carry through. Like I remember a dude pulled a gun on me in the middle of school in the hallway.
Wow.
And
damn.
And the thing is, like one of my, I wouldn't call him a friend, but like
an acquaintance.
We partook of a lot of herbal remedies together, like the weekend before. So I knew him from around, like, you know, we were not friends, but we knew each other. He's standing behind him, putting him up to this, and now it's a gang initiation. And he has to shoot me for this kid to get into the gang. And so he pulls this gun on me in the middle of the hallway, and I'm like, well,
in Arkansas.
Yeah, oh yeah, and small town Arkansas. In 91, small town Arkansas.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at him, I'm trying to decide what to do, and I just glare at the dude, and I told him that if he shoots me, he better kill me, because I'm going to take that gun away from him, beat him over the head with it, and then I'm going to eat him. And like, I was dead serious. And at the time, like, my hair was longer than my beard, and black trench coat and all this nonsense, and I used to grow my nails up. Oh man, I used to grow my nails out real long and cut them to points and paint them black. And like, I mean, anything I could do to look scary to keep people at a distance. And dude panicked and ran. And like, false bravado has gotten me through a whole lot of situations that I shouldn't have survived.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean, I don't know anybody that's had something.
Man, I nearly got killed by a cop one time for saying yes, sir. That I put in my book Green Zone, because that was ridiculous.
I got in trouble for that one. Yes, sir. Are you making fun of me?
Oh man, he was not having it. Like, he comes up angrily, like, I pulled you over. I was like, absolutely. I wasn't being a smart aleck. I knew why I got pulled over. Like,
absolutely.
There was no question. It was the middle of the night. We were doing like 70 in a 35 with the lights off, with somebody hanging out at every window, somebody surfing on the hood and the roof of the car. I'm hanging out the driver's side window, driving by a string. And like, so when he pulled us up, I was like, absolutely. I know I'm going to jail. I just want to walk in of my own accord. I don't want my legs broken on the way. I want to make this as smooth a transition for both of us as possible. So I'm trying to be as polite as I can. Of course, I'm 6.5 foot, tall white dude with long black hair and trench coat and all this nonsense. And, so I'm just trying to be polite. I'm saying yes, sir, and no, sir. And he's getting madder and madder and madder. And next thing you know, he's taking that little strap off his gun and he's starting to pull it. If the Wendy's hadn't got robbed right then, I think I would have got shot. Wow. And
the Wendy's saved your life?
Oh, man. Dude, this dude had robbed every restaurant in town. And Wendy's was like the only one he hadn't hit yet. And the Wendy's parking lot comes out at a red light. And if you go to Wendy's, you're going to be stuck in that parking lot for a half hour. Every single time. Doesn't matter day or night. You're going to be stuck because that light's going to turn red. And you're just going to be stuck waiting. And he robs it in the middle of the night, gets stuck in traffic. Manager just walks out, writes down his license plate number, and goes back in. And they finally caught the dude. But if he hadn't robbed the Wendy's that night, if he wasn't out of other restaurants, I would have got shot. So I'm grateful for that guy that went to jail.
So they did drop in a small town, like the song says.
It's scary in a small town, because like, when there's only like 2 or 3 cops, it's a whole lot easier to keep people quiet. It's a whole lot easier to get away with stuff when there's only a couple of cops. And one might be okay, but that other one, I got stories that go really dark, and I don't want to derail the whole thing with stories of people getting put on them because of a bad cop. But
you're just giving me an idea for a whole other show.
Yeah.
An even later show after this, where we can't swear and say whatever we want. Now, wait a minute. That name is already taken. So
well, that's why I'm calling it Fish Tales, because it makes sense. Oh man, folks, Fish is a blast, and it's so funny that you're saying that, because everybody sees you like Mr. Rogers, especially after watching your videos.
I'm a really nice guy now. I was not always, but that's a big part of why I am a nice guy now. Like, I mean, I've seen violence. I've been poor. I've been hungry. I've been through a lot of things. So I'm kind and I'm generous and I'm, forgiving, because Lord knows I made mistakes along the way.
Yeah, but I think all as human beings, right? We're as good as we're going to be, right? And we each go through ups and downs in life, right? That either makes or breaks us, and sometimes we break because we're just human beings, right? And then we take the path that we do to better ourselves and to better and help other people around us, and it makes what we go through with other people that you try to help in similar situations, or just be the goodness or the kindness that we are. I think that's just most people,
Yeah, I mean, we all go through stuff, and for some of us, when we go through hard times, it makes us angry, and we want to make sure somebody else goes through it too. Some people, it makes us want to make sure nobody goes through it, and some people, it just breaks them. And I can't really hold a grudge against anybody for the results they had. Like I know some people in my life that got broken, and I'm like, why didn't it just make you stronger like it made me? But that just you break a bottle, you don't always get
everybody's
a weapon.
different, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and how they go through stress or anxiety or depression or whatever they might be going through, right? Because those things are real. They've been real for 30, 40, 50 years. It just now there's more cases of it because of things that go on in other people's lives. And I'm sure social media is not a great platform for that as well. I think it's actually the worst platform for that. You better off staying off. And kids that go into high school now, like when I went, you had your Apples and stuff like that, right, that were around. But now you got social media that those kids go on there, and that's another, it's great, to if you got a book or you got games or whatever you're promoting, it's good for that. But on the flip side of that, you got people that are being bullied online and stuff like that. And so like social media has that great platform, but it's also a positive and negative. But it's got to be used in the right way, to not do any of that kind of stuff. But we all know that happens in reality. Unfortunately,
I like to focus on the positive, but that's the kind of guy that I am.
100%. I do too.
And there is a lot of good out there now. I've had Tourette's my entire life and autism and all of this stuff. But just since TikTok has come around, I have learned so much about my own Tourette's and my own autism and my own PTSD and stuff that I've had to deal with, because there's so many other people out there talking about it I never had access to before, like this many people willing to talk openly about what they're dealing with.
But see, that's awesome. It's
been such a blessing. So, I mean, it comes with its positives, but also if you put all your self-worth on how many views and likes you get, then that's gonna hurt real bad, because that next video is gonna get nothing.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And people always talk to me like, "Hey, Ralph, you're making videos, and some people are watching, some people aren't watching." I'm like, I don't care who's watching. I can give a shit. And if you watch my videos on TikTok or anywhere, you can tell that I am enjoying what I'm doing, and I don't care who's watching.
Yeah.
And in essence, that's if we're some type of content creator, right? Whatever we're making, whether it's comics or whatever, Ralph has a lot of people on, right? And share what they're doing, and we're all grateful for that. But it's not about how many likes you get, or how many comments you get or whatever, right? We do it because we love it. That goes along the way when you promote it, when you get certain followings, whatever. It's like Ralph always says, it's like a full-time job doing, the social media,
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God. It's crazy.
Vaughn's over here working 6 full-time jobs on his social media.
Every time I turn
Dude, my
around,
social media, I have to, and I got it. Sometimes it's like an addiction. I got to stop. But there are times I'm like, nope, I need to make this. I need to make this. I need to make this. It was also, there was a solid week or two or a few days where it was I was getting all the final versions of my colors. So it was boom, 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 boom. Finished pages. And today I was like, get it off. I was like, get it off. Now I'm working on I was working on issue 4, and I'm trying to get better at being a writer again, because I've been talking about writing more than writing. And I'm like, I do it.
Oh my God, I feel that.
It happens.
and don't the promotion, and I think that's why my numbers aren't. First of all, I should have learned the Kickstarter algorithm because I'll be admit I got a little cocky. I did well on Fund My Comic. I was like, I'll just plop it on Kickstarter, and it's like, dude, no one knows what I am. By the way, I'm $2 away from getting 1,000. I was at 1,000, and then one person refunded, and then it went under, and I'm like, come
That sounds
on.
like Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah.
And
That
apparently,
sounds
it's
so
a common
familiar.
thing on Kickstarter.
Yeah. Oh man, like once you hit goal, it almost always dips again. Like
Yeah.
I'm always warning new creators because they're like, "Yay, we hit goal!" I was like, "Dude, it's gonna drop. Don't get bent out of shape when it drops because it's gonna." But it's gonna go back up. But
Well, when I do Bad Girl books, I know I won't have to work as hard. But no, I'm kidding. But well, that'll be an easier sell. Luckily, my first book was kind of like that, and I do want to make that into a full story. But I want to write the first arc of Phenomenova, rewrite it. So because I was rewriting issue 4 before this. That's why I was late. So apologies. But yeah, this comic I've been working on for a while. So if any of you are interested in backing, I have not one but 5 covers, 4 variant covers and a main cover. And they're all now done. All the interior pages have been colored. We're lettering it. We're almost done lettering it. And issue 2 earlier this morning, man, I keep not soaking in my accomplishments and just on to the next thing. But issue 2, I got my cover in for issue 2 this morning, my main cover. And I have one of my variants being worked on. But yeah, it's already in progress. I think issue 2 is going to be a 24-page issue. And then I'm going to just do 24-page issues for a bit. But I wanted this one to be a giant size, 68 pages. Really give you a full origin of our main character, and then it'll evolve into a team book. But
can we get some links in the chats?
Yeah, I can do that right now, folks, because I know somebody's gonna be like, Ralph, I'm lazy. I don't want to do anything.
We got any linkers in the chat? We got any linkers?
Let's see. Yeah, there's always somebody in the comments going, I'm lazy, Ralph. I don't want to do anything. Then I go, there it is. You got no excuse. Go follow it now.
Oh, do I have to click on it myself?
Exactly.
So all the variant covers are campaign exclusives. So like the basically this is more like a pre-order than like a crowdfund. But basically once the book goes to printer, you won't be able to get these variant covers. There might be some at cons, but they will be marked up in price and very limited. So if you want a variant, make sure you get it. Or if you just want the main, make sure you get it. We're less than $300, I think, away from our first stretch goal, which is if you scroll down, that's the back cover of the book. If you scroll down that fire thing, everyone will get a mini print of that if we hit 15K across all 3 campaigns. And I think we are less than $300 away. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is an amazing print.
Yeah, that's really, I like that.
I posted that double page spread on social media, and suddenly a bunch of people were like, oh my God, wait, where is this? Vaughn key came out of nowhere. Well, I kind of this guy, like, I think it was Kelsey Shannon was like, is anyone paying attention to what Vaughn's doing? Like, what the hell just happened? And I mean, it's been great. That piece came out amazing. That's one of the earlier double page spreads of the book, because basically my comic is set 20 years after World War III, and there was a battle in World War III where this whole area of California got destroyed and rebuilt, basically. And that's the area we live in now. It's called New Sanctum. And so you see, those are some of the heroes that fought during World War III. And now we have the next generation. This kid gets powers, and he wants to be like those heroes. And that's the setup for the story.
That's cool.
Great story. I love it. I've told you before, I really like the fact that you got it in World War III and not World War II or World War One. Because that's constantly what everybody's trying to do. And I feel like because you set it up like this, it's almost like it's a classic comic, but at the same time, it's not.
Yes, that's exact. And I'm so glad that came across. That's exactly what I was going for. I was talking to a friend, and he was like, what's your superhero world like? How's it different? I'm like, well, it has like different characters. He goes, no, what makes it different? And I thought about it, and eventually I came up with this World War III. Oh, it was set after World War III because I like the idea of legacy and of there being heroes, but also it's starting again. I remember as I was planning out the backstory for World War III, I was like, Okay, this is a story in itself. So I do want to do a prequel story called Crusader Corps, and also on the art contest is done on Sunday. I'll announce the winner, but we'll also have an audience choice bonus winner, who everyone gets to vote on in chat. So that'll be on my channel. It's just my name, Vaughn Coleman. But yeah, on Sunday we're announcing who the art contest winner is. Their piece will be
Nice.
book, and there will be an art contest for the next one. I recommend everyone. Here's the thing: it is a lot of work, as I understand, but art contests, even if it's just a few people that join it's a nice way for people to kind of spread your work around. And then sometimes people go, "Oh, thanks for shouting me out. I'll back the book." And I'm like, "Oh, you didn't already." Okay.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
But yeah, that's what I've got going on. I wanted to, I was looking at, even when I was writing issue 4, I was like, what do I miss about comics? And I go, oh, I should add one of those things like, tune in next issue for this, and this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff from old
I love
comics.
that so much.
And I decided
how will our heroes survive. I love that.
Yeah, so I didn't do that for the first issue, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, should I? Because I just finished the end of issue 4. I'm like, tune in. This is what happens in issue. We're like, and it's like, I think comics, they're almost like afraid of in their attempt to try and be taken more seriously. They're kind of stripping themselves of
exactly.
Well, like let me look at any X-Men
fun.
cover in here. Like there's like, or the Spider-Man covers where Stan Lee would talk to the audience, like beg you to buy the book. Okay. Here we go. This I just pulled to a random X-Men cover. The Angel is back, and he's come to murder the new X-Men with their own leader's deadly eye blast. Right?
I miss those things, man. I feel
come
like comics
on.
take themselves way too seriously now.
And they're not as good, man. Like the thing is, when they try too hard, and it's also, I mean, getting back to what you were saying, even before Mr. Fish, some people get broken by tragedy, and some people do it. I felt that was almost the difference between heroes and villains, right? Is that like they both have these tragic backstories, and I feel like what makes the characters go differently is how they react to it. And that was, I spent a lot of time kind of, why do I love superheroes? And I wanted this to be like the ultimate love letter to superheroes.
And it's completely true, because the hero's journey can lead you to either becoming the hero or the villain. But you always have to take the hero's
line, 100%,
So, Mr. Frank, you have something to like tell people, or you have something to show off?
Well, you got the picture. I don't have the technology.
Well, you have to do the. I'm not going to do all your work.
I know. So long anticipated. I'm the author of the Dark Legend of the Foreigner book series, and on the side note, my dad had passed away a few weeks ago. People who know me suddenly, but he's the one that helped me push this writing. So in 1996, I hand wrote the Dark Legend. Obviously rewrites and stuff like that, but he was the one that basically motivated me to push it. So people that follow me and see me at different Comic-Cons and wherever I'm bringing the Dark Legend, basically for him, we all get our motivation from different movies, books, entertainment, games, whatever. We all find different types of motivation in what we create, right? So the Dark Legend 3, well, you could basically show it, is going to be coming in September. It's so my story is about an ancient Japanese warrior that got frozen 400 years in the 16th century, wakes up modern day New York City. So he gains power. He becomes immortal. My small guy right there is named the master because he's the master at everything. And Arthur, that's the guy's name. How would you guys like walking down the block and seeing him in New York City? No way. But he basically, his whole plan was to give him power in order to immortality, to basically use him as his guru to conquer after his curse broke. But as you could tell, that didn't happen. So this is the whole, like my stories continue, but just with these cast of characters, a lot of them are going to go away, or something's going to happen, and then they'll reappear in different other stories or whatever. But yeah, this is the basic premise and idea from the a Sinister Six. So instead of having him lead, now he's got to try to face him and save the planet, not the country, the planet. Author winds up destroying 3 of the 7 continents. Obviously, we know there's only 7 continents in the world, so he destroys 3 of them. So it's a massive destruction of planet Earth. And that will be available on my website in September.
I gotta say, man, this cover looks fantastic. Yeah, and I feel like you went a different direction with this one. You know, this one has a different feel than the other 2.
It does, because the other ones are like more darker, but this one's like, oh shit, what the fuck is gonna happen here? Yeah. I mean, a lot of, I've had other books. I have a suspense thriller one that I have and I bring, but obviously you go into a Comic-Con, you're going to get the fantasy and science fiction people that want that type of book. And I'm posting wherever I'm going, I'm sharing it on social media, so I'm getting my word out there. Obviously, I'm not a big marketer or anything like that, but
dude, you're doing major marketing. You're hitting so many conventions. You're like all over the country. You were in Texas, you were in Florida, you're in dude, that's marketing.
Yeah, marketing is such a pain.
Biggest shows right here, man. This is where it's at, man.
Yeah.
Well, I got into MegaCon, which is like a cream of the top crop, right?
Awesome.
It's like we all think of New York, San Diego, MegaCon. We think of Emerald City, right? You think of those, Chicago. You got E2, right? E232 or whatever.
E2.
Yeah, I always get tongue tied when they say that. But you think of those like top 5 Comic-Cons in the country, right? Like if you got to at least 1 or 2 of them, or if someone's gotten to all of them, great, But if you're able to get into at least one of those, fantastic, But getting into MegaCon was superb, and everybody kept on asking me, when's the third one coming? When's the third one coming? I've had that cover for
here now.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a nice little like written thing that I write about Dad, but like I said, like for most of you guys who don't know me, like he pushed me, and like I said, we all have people that motivate us, and hey, keep on doing what you're doing, or friends, family, wives, husbands, whatever, we all have people in our lives that support us, and we all have people that hey, keep on doing what you're doing, and then we got everybody has our buddy Ralph over here that's always inviting everybody on there and on the show, and we're able to get it out there as well. So he does a fantastic job. I always give him kudos for that, because it definitely helps broaden our awareness of our specific content that we have. But I can't wait to see what this is going to do, because a lot of people keep on asking me, when's the third one? When's the third one? And people that come and buy the books are like, oh, we can't wait to see the third one. So I showed him the cover. He's like, oh, man. He's like, when can we start ordering that? I'm like, yeah, I got to put that in print. Hang on.
You're a total tease, man. Look what I have. Little leg here.
It's like funny, because when I get them, when I have them in my hand, there was twice. So so I had one returning customer at Contropolis, because I did Contropolis, New Jersey last year, and they bought the books, and they had asked me when the third one was coming out, and I go, I don't have it yet. They're like, we hated how you ended it, because I ended the second one. I ended the second one with a cliffhanger. Now, anybody who reads books hates that, because then it's like
they love it and they hate it at the same time.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, because then there's that cliffhanger, and then you have to wait for the author to put it out or whatever. But I said I leave it a cliffhanger because I set up for the third one, which obviously you guys just all saw the cover. So that's about I think it's about a 300-page book, I think, just about. I mean, the other ones are a little shorter, but there's a lot going on.
You
as
know
you
how
could
it
say.
is. You build to the next one, you build to the next one, and you got more to
Well,
say, and
yeah.
you got more to say.
Well, listen, like that book, those books came from. I got motivated from watching Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag. When I tell people that, they're like, "What?" You know,
I
you
love the
know,
story.
And I used to work in hospitality, and I was coming home, and this is the story. So like when so I was like 19, and I was working at a hotel on the North Shore in Long Island, and I just watched Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag. I had done like a 15-hour hotel shift, which I was shot. But when you're working that much, then you're all hyped up. I'm like, I can't go to bed or whatever. So I put on HBO, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, man, this movie is god awful. Didn't like it. Love Joe Pesci mafia movies. That one I hated. So my dad was up, and then he's like, and I'm like, Dad, I just watched the god awful movie. He goes, well, if you don't like it, write something about it. Write something, write something, do something, and that's who basically gave me the kick in the ass. Didn't have to be a lot, but he's like, write something. If you don't like it, you have a
Do
computer.
something about it.
Yes, and that's what he did. So, kudos to Dad for that, and everybody who comes out and supports me, and knows what state I'm going to be in, and and what I'm doing, and everything. And I've gotten a lot of support over the years from different fans, different states, and my social media has basically grown since I've been, trying to advertise like weeks before that where I'm going to go. I mean, 2023, I think I started on Instagram with maybe about, say about 7,000, 8,000. Now I'm what? I think I got like 74, 75,000 people on Instagram, which is stupid,
Yeah.
So, it's, I just try to grow and grow my audience. And that's what I basically try to,
You
post
gotta
a pic.
hustle. We got
Yeah.
it. You're a hustler, baby.
Listen, but like I do my postings at night because it almost like I'm like, all right, and then I'm like doing the hashtags and then doing
Ah,
ads and then
horrible.
it's like usually like you have a page later, But listen, I've gotten my fan base to enjoy my literature, and they constantly follow me where I'm going. I'm getting a lot more likes on Instagram, where that was the hardest thing for me to get, but now I see that constantly, which, I'm not the biggest person on social media, but I'm learning. I've had, like the different things that I try to post or whatever, but I can't wait for people to see this and bring this, and, for next year, and, going to MegaCon, bringing that there, bringing it back to Boston. Now I'll have the third one. So, I'm going to have some prints with that as well, because, books got to have some prints with that, you know, and, oh man, I sit there and I enjoyed my writing. I enjoy that, writing is a therapy for me, it's so relaxing and stuff like that. So, I can't wait to bring this, where I'm going to be going, and I don't have too many left after August. So, I probably got like 2, 3 maybe left, after
I'm
August.
surprised because usually your docket is full all the way.
Yeah, I think I did like 12 this year. I think I lost count. Usually that's what my number, which is actually pretty high. Work a full-time job, do cons, life at home. Stuff
You gotta
like
pay
that.
for the dream. You gotta pay for the dream.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I mean, but like what I've kind of figured out, that it's like the smaller one. Besides like local shows, like I try to do 1 or 2 local that are on Long Island. So it's easy. I don't have to drive. I don't have to pay for a hotel or whatever. So sometimes those local shows are great. Um, but like the other ones are definitely ones that pay off. It's like, yeah, you want to make sure you make that table. You want to grow your fan base. You want to grow the the products that you're selling, so you want to tackle it one of two ways. And obviously the biggest thing is knowing your fan base, right? Creating that fan base, creating those people who are willing to follow you and stuff like, no one knew me from Adam, right? I mean, I know Ralph like going on like what, 8 years, dude? You Ralph?
It's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah. So and he saw when it was first, and when he first seen it, and compared to where it's grown, it's like I've even impressed with myself. Like I have to take a step back and then look at it, and then because I hand wrote that book, but I've made multiple changes ever since when I first published the first one in 2013 or 14, and then the second one was 2017. So it's not that far off from 10 years from being apart from each other. So I enjoy writing those books. I'm always coming out with different ways of tackling things, and as a writer, that's what you want to do. You want to tackle maybe things that are out there, that are stories or whatever. Can't go wrong with a guy with a sword. Really can't.
Speaking of guys with swords, and Grant, I feel like I've been wanting to jump in here because I feel like we're going from motivation to unmotivation, especially when it comes to your character. And why don't you tell the people all about what you got going here? So give them the spiel. Go for it.
Yeah, so Beowulf is the guy you probably learned about in high school English class, reincarnated in modern times as a 30-something slacker. So basically, his friends Mooney and Hazel have to get him ready to go up against this dragon. And did I mention that Mooney is actually a cat with magic powers?
You have me a cat.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mooney was based on my real life cat who passed away a little over a year ago.
Oh, sorry.
So I definitely did write in. So there's some very heartfelt stuff about Mooney in this comic book.
I gotta admit, I like the fact that you took your cat and put him into the book. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, because I've been reading through the material that you have over here, and I know it's always interesting when the hero character is like, I got to do this. This is what I have to do. But I feel like your character is kind of like laid back and going,
yeah. I was trying to make the main character a little bit more realistic than other comic books, because I feel like with a lot of comic books, the main characters adapt to all the craziness that's going on.
Like, so quickly.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of the main character Victor going like, well, actually, if you like right in this scene, here's Hazel like arguing with Mooney, like she's basically saying like, you can't just expect me to jump into like this portal that's going to take us, halfway across the world without explaining to me what's going on. So if that's something that's bothered you guys, I think you'll enjoy this comic book.
I gotta say, sometimes you sit there and you go, okay, why did the character do this? How come all of a sudden he decided to do this?
The leaps in logic drive me nuts.
Dude, that was when I was even earlier today, when I was writing my issue, when I was like, I want a character who's like almost the reverse of that, where he does blind in and then people blindly run in. People are like, dude, you realize this was stupid for these reasons? It's like, oh yeah. Like, so I totally appreciate you.
But that's what they always do in the movies.
Exactly.
That's what my character had that mentality of, I just thought superheroes run in. I had the power. He's like, no, there's procedures. You could have died. Like,
dude,
that's the kind of stuff
I gotta say, the more I play D&D and the more I DM, the more I sit there going, people are stupid.
Yeah.
Because they do that running in stuff that you see in the movies, and you're like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
You've got like the ability to check for traps, like right there on your sheet. You could have done that, before just grabbing that door handle. I'm just.
Oh man, this looks amazing.
Thanks.
Oh man, yeah, I love what you got inside. The interiors look great. I like the fact that this cat is a main character.
Yeah.
Why call it Beowulf?
Well, so Beowulf was the inspiration for the comic book. I remember as a kid, my parents had like one of those Time Life books about different fairy tales. And I remember when I read Beowulf for the first time, I thought to myself, hey, this almost kind of sounds like the plot to a comic book. So, yeah, I created a character called Beowulf, and then the main character, Victor, is kind of like the reincarnation of Beowulf.
Love that.
Thanks.
Oh my God. Beowulf got me through high school. Like you would not believe. We had one English teacher in class that she taught Beowulf in like junior year. And one of the things that she would do was have an extra credit thing. If you wanted to like draw a picture of Beowulf or Grendel or something, you could get extra credit, and it big extra credit help you pass the class in some cases. And she had years worth of kids' artwork and stuff up around the wall, and all the best examples were around the wall.
That's
And
cool.
when I got up there and she put them all up on the, around the walls, I just died laughing because more than half of the artwork was mine that people had hired me to do in the years leading up to that. And I didn't know what they were hiring me to do it for, but I knew they just kept asking for the same things over and over again. So I draw it in different ways. And she's like, no, like Sarah did that one and Tommy did that one. I was like, no, I did that one and 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 that one and that one. And I almost got kicked out of school with that teacher, but she later on, she gave me artwork I could do to pass a class. And I love her. She's one of my favorite teachers. Anyway, I got a weird relationship with Beowulf.
But see, that's what we do, right? We were kids. We grew up on this stuff, and it inspires us, and it's good to see it come full circle. I love the fact that you took Beowulf and you went in the direction you did, because it's not. Some people go, oh well, that's the Beowulf story, but that's not the Beowulf story. You went a whole different direction.
Yeah, I wasn't super faithful to the original story, which I don't know, it might have cost me some readers, just because like English teachers, whenever I talk to English teachers, they're always mad because they're like, oh man, I would have loved to use this in my class, but
if you're just going to do a direct copy, what's the point of doing it though?
Exactly.
Like, make it creative, do your own thing with it.
That's how I felt as well.
I got to say, I'm not I've had my running ins with English teachers. The reason I'm a writer is because of my history teachers, because they told some good stories.
Oh man.
And my English teachers, actually I had one English teacher that told me that I would never be a writer. So.
Ooh.
And
I'll show you.
Exactly.
I are too a writer.
Dude, and that's what he was saying. You can't spell, you can't this, you can't that. And I'm like, I can tell a story.
I still can't spell, but I got a whole bunch of books under my.
Exactly.
All you need is the money to hire an editor, and you're good, dude.
Boom. So Grant, I really like what you got put together here. Matter has been raving about it. And I usually when it comes up and we share it on the show, I have Matta go, okay, go ahead, Matta, you tell him.
Yeah, Matta's really cool. She's been on my show a couple times. Yeah, she does some cool comic books herself too.
Oh, so Grant, tell the people about your show too. That way they can go check you out over there.
Oh yeah, okay. It's called Grant Draws. Sometimes I interview people, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just talk with people in the comments. I guess I'm kind of interviewing whoever's in the comments. But,
that's interesting.
Is it in your YouTube? You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's Grant Lankard.
If you put it in the private chat, I'll share it.
Okay.
I'll sub.
Yeah, because I've watched Grant's show a couple times. It's a lot of fun. Especially when he had Matt on, it was a great back and forth between both of them.
Yeah, like I said, she's really cool.
Oh yeah. All right, and it's so funny that we're heading off to Des now because it's another cat thing, and I've been waiting to talk about it. So, Mary, why don't you tell the people all the good stuff about yourself and all the beautiful stuff you do? Give them the spiel. Go for it.
Hello, I'm Mari. I go by Dzhelasi. I usually draw bats, but this Kickstarter is about cats. I do a lot of stuff in the community, trying to teach people, inspire people how to do different things that I know how to do. So the Space Cats started off when I was doing a zine workshop at the local bookstore.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, so I made a little zine, and the zine is like a coloring book type of zine. It's like a real small one-page foldable type thing. And I also made some stickers so that kids can color them as well. And people loved it, and I decided to move it from one medium to another. So it went from the zine to some prints, and now hopefully to some pins.
I love how it does that. I love how creativity just morphs one thing to another and keeps moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it that way too, because like some people that might not be interested in zines will still find what you're doing just in a different medium. So it's very helpful with like moving it around and inspiring different people with different things.
I gotta say, I love cats, and these pins are cute as heck.
Thank you. So with the Space Cats, basically, it's these two cats, Cielo and Nova, and they get left home a lot because their owner works. So they always leave the TV on and they watch like sci-fi movies and things like that. So they one day Nova drops over a goldfish bowl, and
It is storming pretty heavily
so
outside right now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so it goes along that whole thing. It's like a whole imaginary type thing, almost like Magic School Bus type of deal.
Awesome.
Okay, you're talking my language.
Yeah. So that's basically what the premise of it is. I don't have a story yet, but I do plan on illustrating a kid's book for it as well.
Dude,
cool.
you're really like diving into this. I like how it keeps moving forward. It keeps changing into something else. It keeps turning into something else. And I think you got something here. These guys are cute as heck.
Thank you. Plus, people are like shocked because they're like, "You're doing cats now," and I'm like, "I don't only draw bats, guys. I can draw other things."
You know what it is? People decide that you do one thing and that's it. That's all you do.
Oh man,
Yeah.
people want to stick you in a box.
Exactly.
I like to like steer away from it, so keep people guessing. You know.
So you're working towards 600, and as
Yes.
I love these pins. I remember these. Look at my little pizza bat over here.
The
Or my
little
snack
cow
bat.
bat's so cute.
So
Thank you. That
there's
was
an
my first
example of what these
Kickstarter.
pins are gonna look like.
Yeah, and I'm going by with the same manufacturer as well that did this one. So the 600 is the initial goal. It's gonna unlock Cielo and Nova, which is Cielo is the fox-looking cat, and Nova is the all-black cat. And then I have a stretch goal for 750. The 750 will unlock Goo, which is the alien cat.
I gotta say, man, it looks great. The star here is gonna be a pin too, right?
Well, if I get to 1,000, then anybody who pledges for 2 or more pins successfully will get the Star Friend for free.
Awesome.
So you're really like you're over there seducing people to come over.
I have to, because the snack bats had like 8, and I only unlocked 3. So I'm trying to like, hey, you want all of them, right? And you got to get this one too. So we'll see what happens.
That's why I keep sharing this thing, because I want stuff, and I'm
I
like,
appreciate it.
folks, come on! I'm trying to get something here.
Well, we'll see what happens. If it gets funded all the way, then that'll be cool. If not, I do plan on doing it in the future when I do release the kids book. So eventually, but this is just like a freebie incentive type of deal.
Well, the good thing is that you're really close to funding. You're like really close to funding. I mean, like really.
Yeah.
You need like $14, and you're
Yeah,
there.
pretty much. I'm looking out with this one, but I do have an event on Saturday, July 20th. I will be at Comicopolis, which is in White Oak District in Lockport, Illinois, and this is my 4th year doing it. I'm also part of their scavenger hunt.
Nice.
Cool.
Like in the raffle, I'm giving away a hand-painted heart-shaped box that's shaped like a gem. It's like colored in like a gem with acrylic, and the 3 snack bats are available for there as well.
Awesome.
I gotta say, I love your hustle. I know there's times where I've seen where you're like, you get apologetic because you can't do something because other stuff happens, and I'm like, I'm always like, dude, just relax, man. You do a lot.
I feel like I never do enough. I think it's just the Bronx in me. Is what it is.
I do
New
the
York.
same thing. I feel like I never do enough.
Yeah, like I'm doing stuff, and I'm like, am I really doing stuff? And everybody's like, you're doing a lot. I'm like, no, I'm not. I need to do more. So, yeah.
Am I really doing enough if I can still sleep and eat?
Yeah.
Like, really? Am I even working at this point?
Yeah.
I was saying,
Yeah,
like, what's sleep?
Yeah, my sleep habits have been shit lately.
I've been sleeping too much.
I wish I could. That'd be nice. I think I get like average 3 hours, maybe.
That sounds about right. That's the creative process, man. You know, especially because you're every time that you feel like you're about to go to sleep, you go, oh wait, there's more.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. Like I start watching stuff and doing things in the daytime, and it's like time to go to sleep, and then all these ideas come out, and I'm like, yeah, no, can't go to sleep.
Oh man, if I even try to stop working, I'm like, okay, my wife's home. I'm going to stop working now and I'm going to pay attention to her. I'm out. Like as soon as I'm not working, my brain's like, oh, it's time for bed, because that's what we do. We work and then we go to bed, and then we get up and we work. And if I'm not doing one, I'm doing the other.
And it's funny because they say that with ADHD and all that stuff, as soon as your brain stops working, the whole thing tells you, okay, we're done. Let's go to sleep.
Power down.
That's I gotta work. It's such a balance. Yeah.
And it's so
for
funny.
me, it's also there's a million roadblocks. Like I had a to-do list today, and I'm like, okay, I can write now. And I'm like, no, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. And I'm like, no,
God.
You can write now.
All day. It's like, well, I need to do this, but you know what? I need to do thank you cards. And then I ran out of thank you cards, so I had to print more thank you cards. And while I'm in here, then I might as well start folding up the mini comics that go with the backers. And if I'm going to do that, then I might as well do this all freaking day. And I was busy, but I didn't get anything completely checked off the list today.
That sounds like about my day.
Except making it to this show on time. I was here on time. I counting that as a victory today.
Mary, I have to say, how do you have time for anything else? Because with the amount of art you put out, and I'm constantly seeing you put stuff out, so I know you're constantly working and stuff. How do you have time for all that?
With no sleep. That's exactly how I have time for it.
There's so much more time in the day for when you don't sleep. There's like a whole other 12 hours.
Yeah, I've been sleeping too much. I slept like too much the last couple of days, and I'm like, why do I have no time to do? Probably because that. So.
I like how we decide it's the sleep that's causing the issue.
That's the problem. That's the real core of the problem. It's not the anxiety. It's not the overworking. It's not the fall of capital. No, it's sleep is the problem. That's the real enemy.
And folks, Mary does a lot of great art. You have to go check out her various social media, because I feel like you're only getting a smidge of what she does by looking at this beautiful pin set. and dude, you guys have to go check out her stuff and hire her. Get commission her.
Yes, hire me. I don't sleep. I'll get work done.
I feel like we call all these people on board and we just tell people, go give them more work. Come on.
She's not working hard enough. Go throw some more at her.
Yeah,
there's some extra time.
Dude, I feel bad. I'll have friends that it's like that I know are working so hard, but I'm like, but I do want them to do this for me. And I'm like, listen, I'll pay you.
It's like, hey, I know you got
like
a
as their friend.
Job.
Yeah, as their friend, I'm like, I want to leave them alone, but but I also do want. Like even earlier today, I had a friend that I'm like, I know this person's overstressed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta love us creative people, folks, because we're creative and we're trying to get other people to be creative, and we're trying to get other people to get creative. We're trying to make everybody like us.
While also telling people not to be like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I be like you guys?
I've learned really well to teach people to have a work-life balance. I haven't learned to have one yet, but
Yeah.
I've really learned how important it is
to tell
So
people.
I'm trying to tell everybody else to do it.
Don't make my mistakes.
Exactly.
That's kind of tough to do, because we get pulled in, 10 different directions, and we try to be there, and sometimes those 10 wind up coming to like 4, between writing and work balance, home life, whatever, and then sometimes the writing becomes the last part because you're trying to it's tough, not easy.
Oh, it is tough. And that's one of the things that I'm always trying to tell people is like it's totally okay to do these things for a hobby if you want to. Like it is totally okay to let art be something you enjoy, or let making comics be a hobby that you do for fun that you enjoy. You don't have to try and make a living off of it because that's really hard. And like I'm just barely squeaking by on my own books right now, and I could make a lot more money if I was doing everybody else's books all day, but doing my own is tough because then I have to do everything. And if I'm not selling them, then I'm not making money. And if I'm not going to shows, then I'm not selling. And, I have to do all that stuff myself. And that's really hard. If I'm just doing your books, I get to chill at the house and draw comics all day. But then I don't get to tell my stories. So
speaking of which, Mr. Fish, why don't you tell people? I thought we did this already, but
no, we didn't. We went right to gunshots and all kinds of stuff. We did not talk about the book. This is a story that I have literally been working on for 30 years. Like back when I was getting guns pulled on me in high school, I was working on this story, and it is an amazing story. I'm really proud of it. This story is following a fully grown Alice who's lost in this interdimensional rift between worlds some call it Neverland, some call it Oz. She calls it Wonderland. And she's got the Tin Man by her side, and she's going on these adventures. She's like a wandering Ronin in this interdimensional rift. And she gets hired to hunt the things that go bump in the night. And along the way, she gets bound to this magical contract, and she has to dodge bounty hunters and armies of time-worshipping cultists and ghosts and everything from the public domain you could possibly throw her direction, and dodge the Queen of Hearts that has a bounty on her head, and the Tin Man's to catch up with the White Rabbit. It's just, there's so much cool time traveling nonsense and interdimensional adventures. But really, like what started out 30 years ago as a power fantasy about like, what if I could just go anywhere and do anything and I didn't have restrictions on me? Like, what would I be? And that wasn't a good thing back then. It started out as a power fantasy, but over the years, it really evolved more into a story of who we are at different points in our life. Like when we're a brash young kid and we think we know everything, and what it's like when, reality kicks us in the teeth and we realize we don't know everything, and what it's like when you're an old man and you regret the choices that you made, and how you can try your best and your kids still grow up to hate you. And all of that stuff combined with all the crazy stuff that I've gone through in my life has all gotten twisted and jumbled and mixed and woven into this awesome tapestry. And like we were talking about stories and stuff earlier, like I had been working on this story from one direction for 30 years, and it was about a time traveling barbarian and his adopted daughter and all of this stuff. And then I got this idea as we were just talking stories with some friends, and I hit on the Alice wandering Ronin of this interdimensional world. And I wanted to tell both of them. And I realized if I was real careful with my surgery, and if I excised that daughter and put Alice in that place and turned the story and told it from her point of view, I still got to do everything that I wanted to do. But now I have all of this public domain room to play in and all these awesome toys to play with. And you can have Frankenstein's monster and Cthulhu and Sherlock Holmes and the Pirates of Neverland and all of this stuff come in together. And all of the sudden, characters that I've had forever suddenly fit in these roles of these characters that, you know, we know, but this is a different version of them. You know, like this cyborg guy that's made out of junk that I've had forever that was the scavenger now becomes the scarecrow and is freaking terrifying. And this interdimensional deal broker that I had from my role-playing game 30 years ago that was really just a fix to the problem of what do you do when your characters are trapped someplace and they can't get out, or they're out of ammo, or they're out of, you know, healing potions or whatever, and they're stuck in the middle of a dungeon. And I thought about giving them like a bag of holding that had this stuff in it. And then I thought, why don't you just make that a shop? And so I came up with this character that wherever you are, if you were looking to make a deal, a door somewhere would turn into the door to his shop. And
Ooh, that's cool.
I love that.
That's
and
awesome.
Pocket dimension. Now, once you're in there, you're in his pocket dimension, and the door shuts, and you don't get out unless he lets you out. But it works anywhere. I wasn't expecting this, but like we were playing a sci-fi game, a completely different game, and they got lost in another solar system in a defunct space station, and all the ships were gone, and they got abandoned there. And I was literally trying to decide, like, well, do they just die? Or are we going to try and make a game out of, like, farming roaches and fighting with the rats for supremacy of the space station? Like, where do we go from here? And then one of them had the audacity to start screaming out they want to make a deal. And I was like, all right, roll a dice. Natural freaking 20. So a janitor's closet turns into this dude's shop, and they used his dimension to... They lost everything in the wager. They lost all of their armor, all of their money, everything in this wager. But he opened the doorway to an inhabited planet, and they got out. And he has been such an awesome tool for 30 years in my game and has all this lore with him now. And when I needed somebody to fill that role in this story, and then I started thinking about public domain characters and old stories, and it hit me, the cobbler and the elves. And so now he is the cobbler, and his elves are these creepy little finger spiders that can build anything he needs that you want. And he can basically fulfill all your dreams for a price. And he's freaking terrifying. I love him so much. And getting to draw these characters that I have been, you know, had in my heart and my head for 30 years has been one of the most emotional things I've worked on, like, since I started doing this. And this story is why I got into doing comics, was to lay the foundation to tell this story. And it launches tomorrow, and I'm super excited about it.
You're doing something new, right? With you're doing something new with Backerkit.
Oh yeah, I got invited to be a part of the Backerkit Comictopia project, and this is their first time doing Comictopia. They've done like Pentopia and other things before, where they get a whole bunch of creators together. There's like 31 different brand new comics on here, and they're all like interconnected. Like I'm connected with a Not Safe for Work book about a college girl finding her sexuality. And like, if you back both of those books, you get special incentives from both of us. But the more you back in Comictopia, the more books you support, the more cool swag you get. And we're all interconnected. And I was planning on trying out a Backerkit campaign anyway. And then I got invited on this, and I was like, well, I've been wanting to tell this story anyway. And sure, it's not like I'm in the middle of packing up my last Kickstarter and trying to ship out hundreds of books. No, I'm not overwhelmed right now. No, I got time. I can figure it out. Sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking to him. And he's like, Ralph, I just got 2,000 books in, and I'm trying to get them all out.
Yeah, like I just got all 4 issues of the Mighty Call in, and I've got to pack up like 100 orders of that, and I've got to print sticker sheets and get the mini comics finished and all of this stuff for all the cross promotion I did on that. But everything's coming together. It'll be shipping out this week, which is good because I have a con next week, and I need to sell a whole bunch of these books at that con. But I have a rule. I can't sell them at the con unless I've shipped them out to the Kickstarter backers. So I got to get these packages shipped quickly. So next week I can go to the con and start slinging some books.
Fish, you also have to tell them about your Patreon, because I love what you do there. You know, if you're actually a Patreon person, go ahead, tell them. You tell them.
Okay. If you like comics, if you like indie comics, if you've been supporting, Kickstarters and whatnot, you really ought to go check out my Patreon, Mr. Fish Comics, because you can subscribe over there, like good old fashioned subscription to comics from Marvel or DC. And I ship out a book every month, and it's a new book every month. I have been going I just hit my 14th book in 13 months. I just crossed a year, like in May. And I just shipped out like the 14th book, and it's been going great. You could sign up for $5 and get a digital comic every month, including the like 13 back issues that are on there that you can download instantly when you sign up. For $10, you get a physical copy shipped right to your door every month. A lot of times Patreon exclusive covers that are only getting printed that one time, like this book right here, volume 2 of Fish Tales, probably right now is only going to see the light of day in this fashion to the Patreon backers. They're probably the only ones that are ever going to have that book, because it has like part of the Alice story in there that I'm now rolled over into a whole new book. And so I'm probably not going to publish that one large scale like I did some of the others. And some of the other stories I'm going to roll over, because there was like a Caw short story, so I'm going to roll it over into an issue of Caw, and one for Green Zone that I'm going to put over there in the trade and all that. But yeah, you can subscribe, get a book every month. You can even subscribe if you want and get a commission every month from me if you got money. Like if you want a variant cover or a pinup, or one dude has been saving them up. He's hired me every month. He's paid for this commission tier. He's saving them up so we can do a short story. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So he gets to pay for it on installments, and it's nice and easy monthly charge. And we're going to do a whole book together. It's going to be awesome.
It sounds like Patreon done right.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've been doing it regularly, and the people have really been enjoying it. And the awesome thing is I get a lot of feedback from people on like what stories they like. Like the Fish Tales anthology, they got to read those books before anybody else, because they go to Patreon before they go to Kickstarter or TikTok Shop or anywhere else. And they kept telling me how much they were enjoying the Alice story, which really gave me the push to go ahead and roll that over into its own book, because that's the story that I really want to be telling anyway. And, it's a story I've been waiting 30 years to tell, but, it took technology and stuff changing to make it possible to do this now, because, you couldn't do this so easily 30 years ago.
No, you couldn't. I know. I tried.
Oh, man. I tried too. I tried literally publishing this story 30 years ago, and the local paper, I talked to them about doing a black and white comic, and they wanted like 10 grand to do 5,000 copies. And like that might as well have been $10 million to me at the time. I mean, with inflation, it probably was. And I just got like 2,000 copies for like a little over $1,000. And it's freaking nuts, man. It's nuts.
I gotta say, this is the time to be an independent. This is the time to make your dreams happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Fish, tell them where they can find you.
Go MrFish.com. Right there is the quick link. It will take you right to the page. That will always take you to what I'm doing right now. It'll either take you to the next Kickstarter, or this time a Backerkit, or it'll take you to my link tree where you can find everything. I always keep that link going to where you can find what I'm working on.
There you go. All right, Mary, tell the people where they can find you one more time. I know, getting that button to go do what it's supposed to do.
I think she went to make
Okay, I'm here. All right. You can find me at Dzhelasi.com. So it's DZHELASI. I'm also on Instagram. That's mainly where I post, and any other social medias, it's Dzhelasi.
And folks, I have to tell you, you need to go follow this girl. She does a lot of amazing art. It's beautiful. It's unique. And, I want my cat pin. So go support this now. All right. It is time for some Beowulf. Go for it, Grant.
Yeah, check out. Well, I'm on most social media. I don't really use Twitter anymore. But if you
I
want
don't
to,
blame you.
It's great. I will say it is the one I get the most traction on. I will say that.
really,
Especially, I just paid for. I paid. Well, I finally paid for it. Yeah, it actually
That's probably
does.
why.
Well, no, I just did. I had done it before. This was after I raised 12K. Like
I know some
Twitter?
people do great on it. I have never managed to get any traction there to save my life.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all networking. It's all
No,
networking.
Vaughn. I meant that it's probably why you're doing well on it now. I know you were doing well with Phenomenova before because I loved what you did with the other one. What you hit 12,000 with that one? Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Get on as many shows as you can too.
Exactly.
YouTube shows. Talk to literally. If you're like, there's going to be 3 people in the audience. Okay, if one of them backs it, that's money. So
There you go. Yeah.
you know.
And Grant,
Anyway.
if people want to go talk to you at your show, where do they find you?
Grant, I think you posted the link.
Oh yeah, it's in the link. But you know, people want to hear you say it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, or yeah, you can message me if you want to be on the show. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram.
It's a fun show, folks. You guys should hit Grant up and go have some fun.
Thanks.
Let's see. Who else do I got over here? Oh, there we go. Vaughn, go ahead. Say your thing.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you, Grant. But I think we follow each other on. We met at Baltimore or something, right? Years back.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I have
just look up my name on Instagram. I think we've messaged. But yeah, so my comic Phenomenova. It's available on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic. It is getting closer to getting done every single day. I just got my afterword has been written, and it is 68 pages, 65 pages of story with 5 variant covers to choose from, and we are so close to getting our first stretch goal, which will lead to the next and the next and the next. This is, if you're inspired by comics, if you love that nonstop storytelling, like Chris Claremont's X-Men run, Marv Wolfman's Teen Titans, or even that original Stan Lee Spider-Man, if you want classic comic book greatness, this is where it's at. This is the future of comics. If you don't believe me, I got a quote from Billy Tucci saying that I am the future of comics. So if you don't take my word for it, take his, creator of She and some others. It's been a blast working on this book, and I think it'll read through on the pages. So definitely check this out if you're interested. Get whatever cover you're interested in. And it should be done shortly. I don't want people to wait too long on this book. And one of the things I've done, I think creators should do this more, is making sure I have an editor really looking at it and giving it your second set of eyes, really working on the writing. I think a lot of indie comics creators, need to make sure that we're doing that we're really treating writing at as much of an art form as artwork. Look at what happened in the 90s. How many of those great artists wrote amazing stories? No offense, but I read Spawn issue 1. Nothing happened. The whole issue, nothing happened. He goes and
But he looks so cool doing nothing.
He does. He looks really cool walking around the alleyway for 24 pages.
Mm-hmm.
How do you spend 24 pages in an alley? Anyway, so yeah, you're not gonna get that. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested.
Yeah, have folks go check them out, and of course,
be the guy that got me over 1,000 for the second time. But then
I'm surprised nobody did right now.
No, we did. Yeah, I'm like, come on, $2.
Exactly, folks.
The book isn't $2.
And folks, I want to let you know that sometimes people go, I don't have the money. You can actually support for $1. If you want, you can actually support for $1.
Someone did that, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone asked me if I will have a digital on my website later, but I wanted to make the physical first. But I will have a digital eventually.
There you have it, folks. Go check it out. And let's see. What else do we got over here? Go ahead, Mr. Drake.
So everyone come out to the Museum of the Moving Image this Sunday at 3 p.m. and see myself and Sam First tell amazing stories that will get us in trouble because of our NDAs.
Yeah, folks. I've known Drake for a while now, and his stories are fantastic. You should go. And wait, Drake, what you said was what? It's free?
Yeah, free.
And you said there's going to be stuff about NDAs?
Oh my God. You know, folks, you got to go.
Now I'm driving.
It's going to be hot on Sunday.
I didn't know we were breaking contractual obligations.
Air conditioning.
But
Are we going to be breaking some NDAs that involve a certain big brand called what Waltz? What's the name? Waltz company? What company?
I don't know. Yes, very possibly. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, I
a
think so.
tease.
Oh dear, it's almost like there's this mega franchise with a bunch of superheroes that we can break contracts on.
There's breaking an NDA, and then there's breaking an NDA.
Watch us bend the hell out of it at this show.
Yeah, I think I've been skirting around stuff long enough that I can do it, unless there's a very overzealous lawyer.
Where can I find the link to this, by the way? Because I'm New Jersey.
Oh,
cool. I can give you the link to the page of the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Will you be okay coming to the city? Will you be okay?
Will I be okay?
Yeah.
be okay.
You said I don't like the way you said that. Now I don't think I will.
The city is safe. Stop spreading disinformation.
Exactly.
No, the city.
is
Hang on, the
safe.
city.
Folks,
I mean,
I put
it is.
the event
I
page
haven't died
for,
yet.
museum in the comments there with everything else. So I don't want to hear any others like, I'm too lazy, Ralph. No. It's in the comment section. Go check it out.
I have to tell you, I spend an inordinate amount of time in Times Square, which is funny because people that live in New York always say that they never go to Times Square.
He's the YOLO dude.
I am there constantly. And I run into a great many tourists, both figurative and literally. And one of the things people tell me if we start to talk is, wow, everything's not on fire like on TV. And they really think that, that one news station that I won't mention, what they're showing you of burning buildings and bodies laying in the street that looks like a war zone, they think that's what New York really looks like. And it's not. So if you're basing, your entire belief system of New York on watching the Warriors 30 years ago, it's not really like that. And
well, maybe I'm not coming then.
No, please come out and play. There are good parts of New York and there are bad parts, but for the most part, you are safe here. Do not be afraid to visit our fair city, and do not be afraid to visit the Museum of the Moving Image this Sunday, where you can get in for free.
Free. Sunday.
It's in the nice part of the city.
It is.
Yes, and let me tell you, because I know this is the target audience for this, they have the actual doll with the spinning head from The Exorcist, the real one from Dick Smith's collection.
Yep.
They have, if you remember the movie Starman, where the alien goes from a young boy to an adult, they have all those heads that were done life-size to do a life-size stop-motion animation. They have those. They have the giant Freddy chest from the Dream Warriors, where you see all the little faces move. So many great things.
I think you got Mr. Fish to go.
Not coming just to see me speak. Although, I am a great reason to come to...
I agree.
Wait. There's a museum attached to this? I thought we were just hearing you speak.
No, there's more. There's so much. There may even be prizes.
Ooh. Look, he's just seducing you people now.
Is the prize going to be able to shake your hand?
I don't know. But, if you want to shake my hand, you can.
Oh.
If you want more, I also have an OnlyFans. But
subscribe and you get to pick something off the wall behind him like a prize.
Talk about stretch goals.
Exactly.
But,
oh my God, folks!
I don't want to know what Godzilla Drake can do.
Fun day Sunday, so go check it out. It's free. It's air conditioned. It's fun, And
It is
the
air conditioned.
museum itself is amazing.
Yes. One of the things I wanted to ask all of you people that do cons.
Ooh.
One of the most heartbreaking things I see at almost every con I go to is someone who has their first or even second book out, and they've spent way too much money on their booth.
Mm.
You could tell they've had like signs professionally made and mounted, and maybe there's lights, and God help them, perhaps there's a mechanical element to it. And there's no way they're ever going to make that money back for that booth. So my question is, what would you tell someone that said to you, I'm going to my first con to sell my first book? Would you say, do not spend a lot of money on your booth, you just need a tablecloth and a sign? Or what would you recommend? Because
don't spend more than what you're willing to show off on the table. If what you are using for your display is more than what you're actually showcasing, you are doing too much.
Okay.
Start out cheap is my advice. Like, start out at local shows with cheap tables and see if this is for you or not. Because like one thing I see all the time is people that are like face down in their phone the whole time. Like, I have gone up and tried to buy books from people, and like they just will not look up from their phone. They're not doing a commission or something. Like, they just won't look up. And I'm like, so tell me about your book. Like what? Like, I want to buy it, but if you won't sell it to me, like, I'm not just going to take it and stick the money in your hand. Like, I'll go buy somebody else's book. And
I agree.
You got
with
to
that.
find out if this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mary.
I tabled for the first time recently, but I was definitely doing too much socializing. I think that's the problem.
The socializing is good.
It's networking though, so
it's networking. But but every minute that you're up talking to people is a minute you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to make connections too, though.
Yeah, well, connections often lead to money.
Fair enough.
Like that's how the reason I made as much as I did is because I networked at shows and wherever. And that's how I started being friends with Billy Tucci. I was walking around as a fan, right? And then that led to getting on the show. That led to him doing a quote. There were some of my cover artists were multiple of them, actually. I think every single one of my variant cover artists actually was someone I met at a show. All of them. So it does often lead to money. Not directly, but yeah.
And
there's been shows that I had. Sorry. There's been shows that I've done that I've met people that may not have had enough money to buy stuff at the time and have become like longtime collectors over time because I actually took the time out to see them as a person, not just as a dollar.
Yes.
There's some people that go up to tables and people don't want to talk to them if they don't have the money for it. And sometimes that could be a big mistake. A lot of commissions, people who have bought stuff when I launched, some people support my Kickstarter, are people that I met and I was just like, here's a free sticker, don't worry about it. Also, I agree with the whole people sitting down and looking at their phones. That's a big issue because that's turned me off plenty of times. So I know it's turned off a lot of other people that want to, if you're not putting enough effort for them to want to even, like, you don't have the time or you don't want to spend the energy to talk to somebody, why do they care to listen to you when there's other stories, there's other artists, there's other, Exactly. If you give them that experience, then it works out. As far as displays are concerned, it depends on the event. If you're going to an event where people spend that big money for the table, you need a display that's going to make you visible. But with that display comes that attitude that you need to be able to understand that some people might not have the money for it. You might not be making that buck there, but you also have to make those connections so that way in the long run, you get collectors and you get people that invest in you over time.
I agree. I did something like I did something simple. Like I had like my website, right? Just something simple and just get a tablecloth that just stand out, like a red and black and white. I found a guy online that specializes in making tablecloths, right? So I just did something like that, and it just brought like I didn't have that before, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, but like I noticed the pop on the tablecloth instead of the black drape white, or whatever they might standardize and give you, but you want something that's going to pop out, right? Like, your artwork that'll maybe stand out. I don't have a very, I don't have a complex. I use, my I have poster boards, right? That basically, and I have a banner that pulls up in the back, and then I have, my books and my artwork that, like, it's very simple. I think people overlook things, right? You know, you can make it easy, but still draw people in. You know, some people overthink it, and sometimes their table gets too crowded with everything that they're trying to put on there, when then the stuff that you are trying to make money off and trying to sell gets lost in everything that you have. Make it simple. Like, I mean, now I'm gonna have 4 books on the table, so I need to kind of, like, I used to do stacks and stuff like that. I had this wood thing that broke, that I just haven't been able to go and get back to Hobby Lobby to try to find something smaller, or just like one thing that you put one book on, then another thing. Like, I got to make my little trip down, and kind of adjust things. But, like, I'm always doing that. The more books I have, the less mess I want to make on the table. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's good too, because like as long as the stuff that you have for your display has a purpose and is showing off your work, then it should be there. It shouldn't
Right.
be a bunch of clutter that you're not selling. Like if you have books, then you should have something that showcases your books.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. But some
I
people
have,
want to
like,
have like big characters and stuff like that that might not bring in that crowd depending on what the demographic is.
you got to
So you
sell
just have
what.
to take that into mind.
Yeah, of course. Like, I've seen some, you know, like, I've seen some people that have a lot of content, right? So they have to showcase a lot of it, and I'm like, how do they get all this stuff on this 6 or 8 foot table, depending upon where they're going? Some of that could be very difficult. The amount of stuff that you have, depending upon, how
That
much you
comes
bring.
that comes into play with what Mary was saying before. If you know your audience,
Yeah,
then
100%.
then you know exactly what you can bring to that specific convention. That's the other thing I'm going to say. Like, from all the conventions we do see, you have to know what your audience is. You have to know if you're choosing a convention. One of the best things to do is go to the convention before you table, see what the
Yes.
convention's about, figure out what's the audience, and that way you can cater your table to that
To that
audience.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
And
like, if you're getting your feet wet and you're just learning and you've got one book, then it really is more about meeting people, letting people know who you are,
Yeah,
what you're
100%.
doing, get them watching and following, making other friends. Like, some of the friends I made at my first shows are still some of my best friends that we talk all the time now. And like, I love them like family. But like, now that I've got like 12, 13 books that I'm taking, like, I'm there to make money. And like, if I'm not
yeah.
making money, then I need to pay for the table and the hotel and the trip,
Mhm.
and
But
make a
people need to know
profit.
that ahead of time, like when they're going to an event. Like if you know that you're going to like C2E2 or like New York Comic Con and you only have one book, then you know that you're going in there and you're probably not going to make that money back.
Mhm.
There's some
No.
people
Mhm.
that automatically assume that because they have a book, people have to buy it, and that's not the case.
No.
You
I
know?
spent all
No.
weekend and didn't get all the way through just Artist Alley at
Yeah.
C2E2.
Mhm.
I mean, and that was all I did while that was the only
Yeah.
thing I was interested in, and I didn't see it all.
You
Yeah,
know,
some of
but
those
Yeah,
bigger
I'm
cons
gonna have to start
are
doing conventions soon too. So this is all super helpful. Definitely like
Mhm.
taking
One
because I'm
thing,
gonna have one book and it's like okay, I get $20 off you, okay. And it's like if I'm at a table and what if they're not interested in the one book, they still like
exactly.
talking to me. Well, that's
You
why I
can bring
want to do the
other
one with the hot
things.
chick because that way I'm guaranteed. Like,
Or you
because
can
that
bring
was my
other
first
stuff
one.
too, like bookmarks, stickers, things like that.
oh yeah,
Work
well,
out well for people that have books.
Yeah.
well, that's
Um,
what I do. Like I have the 2 Dark Legends I package together. Well, I have two separate packages, and with the third Dark Legend, I'm going to package all 3 of them for 50, and you get 2 prints. With the 2 of them, I do 2 for 30 because they're both printed on Amazon, so they basically have the like that third Dark Legend is going to be directly through me, and I'm going to be printing it up so I could put whatever price. But once you have that Amazon sticker on the back, then you're screwed. So, I try to entice it 2 for 30 and you get one of the prints for free. So a print is like, I sell them for $10. So, so I'm kind of giving it, like enticing it.
That
You
and
know,
getting people's emails is important too. If
well,
you
I
can
Yeah.
get
have
them on
that
your
email
email
list.
list.
Yeah,
I have an email list, so
that's the
so
most
like
important.
Put those two
you,
together. That's what I
Oh,
did at
definitely.
my last few shows.
Yeah.
Was like, this is the price of the books, but if you buy all four today, I'll give you a discount of X amount if you sign up for the
Yeah.
newsletter today. And I had a tablet on a little stand with the page pulled up, and everybody's like, "Oh hell yeah!" And I got
I'll take that
so
deal.
many freaking signups. It worked like a dream.
Yeah.
That and these little bookmarks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody at C2E2 was handing out bookmarks, and I realized I could put a little comic strip on there. And so now I can just sit there and yell, "Hey, who wants free comic?" And that gets people's attention. I can hand them this and be like, "Hey, this tells you a little bit of story about the Mighty Cock. If you like it, there's a QR code on the back. You can get 2 free comics." And that gets us talking. About 40% of those stops turned into sales just on, who
you know
wants a
what's
free
also a good
bookmark.
you know what's also a good thing. You guys are right because I have bookmarks, I have stickers, and I have pins. Pins are
Mhm.
like the little small ones that I don't know if you get like around that size, right? I got little pins, and you put on, especially when families coming by, or you got a father bringing his son or his daughter, or it's a family, whatever. Comic Cons are just family events, right? So you can bring whomever, right? So especially when you get the little pins, sometimes like I see like the little kids walking by, and they might not leave with the, and like, oh my god, here you go, take the sticker. I'm just like some like
Yeah.
like I see the families and the kids, and I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
here you go.
So
But like
little kids are my demographic as well. And what
yeah,
I've noticed is like keeping the stuff like that, like the pins, the stickers,
Yeah.
low
Mhm.
on the table.
Yeah.
so
Kids
they
have
could
a habit of
appreciate.
grabbing stuff, and then parents feel the need to buy it because the kids already touched it.
Ooh,
No,
right.
but
I love that.
you're 100% right. But like you need, and you need like to like, I forgot who mentioned it. But just you always have to be engaging with your,
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
like I've been habited, of looking down on my phone, right? But the reason why I'm looking down at my phone is I'm posting on there. So, I try to do it like in
See,
the
that's
morning, and
different.
then
That's not the
Oh yeah, yeah, you could definitely do that. But as soon as you feel somebody there or you see somebody there, then you interact.
you
Then you
got to
put the
look
phone
up
down and things like that.
100%,
Yeah.
because you don't want to lose that sale and that engagement, and listen, the amount, like when I did MegaCon, like that con was the biggest con I've ever done. And that was also the craziest con I ever did. I also did it by myself, which is even ludicrous,
Well, yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, my book, like, I'm not afraid to tell what I did. My book sales were just stupid. Like, I think I sold like 130 packages, you know, like it was
Nice.
just stupid, like, I mean, did I feel like I worked like 6 weeks in a row? Yeah, I did. And then just like no days off. I mean, that con was. I mean, I'm doing it again this year because it was my best one behind Boston Fan Expo. But again, you got to know your
Now you're saying
demographic.
that, that's another thing that you need to do is as you're going through the conventions, you realize which conventions work, which don't work.
Well,
If it doesn't work,
that was
don't
my
keep
point
going
that I was
to
going
it.
to bring up. Yeah,
Don't
like
keep going to it if it doesn't work. Because I've met
Yeah.
some people who go to these conventions and I do the show all the time and I never make any money. So stop going, stop coming.
Yeah.
I've had a few that I would tell Ralph, I'm not saying the name, but like off air, I'll tell you guys. But like there were a couple that like one I did last year, and then another one that I did this year did nothing. There was one that they arranged, like certain ones arranged artist alley different. So you got to know which ones are better. Like I will always give props to Fan Expo because the ones that I've done with Fan Expo, they give love to vendors and artist alley. So usually, like for GalaxyCon, they put you in the back, which I've done GalaxyCon. So they're part artist alley in the back of the convention center. Now we're all artists here. Why would you want to go in the back of a convention center? Where that's the last spot that they're going. It's not like the celebrities are going to be back there. It's like where you go to food and go to the bathroom. Why would you want to go in the back? Like I did one GalaxyCon and I saw how they map it because I have friends that do it, and they said no, they were always in the back. I'm like, yeah. Where Fan Expo, you basically the aisles are travelable. So what I mean by that
They
is when
force the traffic through so that they
artist
actually come
alley
through.
and where the vendors are.
Mhm.
So like, but both parts get the love. Thank you, Ralph. But you get the love from traveling. So it just goes. You come
Yeah.
in and you can go either left or right, but you could travel up and down the aisles, which to me that's something fantastic because that's what you want. You
And
know,
speaking on that, when you do go to the conventions, pay attention to the flow. You need to know how the flow is in the convention, and then
Yeah.
it'll showcase to you how that flow is going to come through you. You know, because that's one of those important things that you should be paying attention to, especially if you want to do tables and stuff. Drake, one last thing with you. Tell the people how they can find you online. Give them all your places to go because I enjoy your Instagram. So
You can find me on Instagram at Krampus, Krampus, New York, NY. And that's it. Don't look for me anywhere else. Only
Stay out
go
of my business.
and earlier someone had said about the internet and collecting, and I just wanted to say that the internet has destroyed a large part of collecting in that it has taken away the goodwill from a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Because before the internet, like when I was a wee lad, or even I worked for Toys R Us in the late 90s, and of course the internet existed, but it wasn't what it is now.
No.
You could just write to a toy company and say, hey, I lost G.I. Joe's gun, or I lost Barbie's shoe, or, my dog chewed off Barbie's head, whatever. And they would just send you another one.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't happen now because as soon as you send it to one person, they post on the internet, hey, if you write to them and give them a sob story, they'll send you a new figure or they'll send you whatever. And it's gotten way out of control. So a lot of companies just say, to hell with it. Nobody's getting anything. Mm-hmm. It was funny when I was with Toys R Us. There were actually two little old ladies that had the job, I think, since day one. And they answered all of Jeffrey's fan mail. So if you were a little kid and you wrote to Toys R Us, Jeffrey would actually send you back an autographed 8x10 that was done by one of these little old ladies. And they would, a lot of people would write in with like sad stories like, I always love to visit Toys R Us when I'm done with my chemotherapy and stuff like that. And if they mentioned a specific toy, Jeffrey would send that toy. And again, that's something that you can't do. Well, Toys R Us doesn't exist now, but that's something
makes it harder.
Yeah, that's something you couldn't do now because everybody would be trying to scam Jeffrey and say, I have an incurable disease and I need a new Nintendo.
Well, a friend of mine, like back in the 80s, he had like 10 different Lego pieces that he designed as a kid and just like drew detailed drawings of what he wanted and sent it to Lego. Mm-hmm. And they ended up producing him. Like he had to sign a little contract and give away the rights. Oh, wow. But they ended up producing him and then sending him like a box of him. So he'd have a bunch of these parts. But like they were all kinds of cool stuff that ended up becoming like regular parts of spaceships and stuff in the 80s.
Wow.
Because he was like, I wish I had a part that went this way. And they'd be like, damn, that's a good idea. But like now you can't just do that because somebody's going to sue you because, you took their idea or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Frank, you're the last one. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yes. I don't have anything coming up until WickedCon, which is first week in August 8th and 9th in Boston. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Twitter I don't really use, but frankdistefanoauthor.com, and you'll see my list of events, my books, and you could write message, say you don't like me, I got messy hair, I got alpha ears, whatever. I'll write back and say something funny to make someone laugh, but no, I'm I'm very much out there. I'm on Instagram, frank.distefano, and you'll see my handsome little face with me standing at my table, so that way it's not cloned. See, I'm making everybody laugh.
Oh, man. All right, folks, we are way past our time. We have geeked out extraordinary this time. We are at the 2-hour mark, if you can believe that. This conversation has been beautiful because it doesn't feel like 2 hours.
No, it doesn't.
And for you 10 people that just showed up, like you always do, I'm happy that you got a little bit of a nice bit there right before we ended. Anybody have any last things to say before we go?
Yeah, just follow me on all my socials and back Phenomenova. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I gotta follow everybody.
Go to the
You guys are
website,
cool.
I'll drop my link tree in the
Launches tomorrow.
Exactly. There you have it, folks. Go check out these beautiful people. They do amazing things. You really need to do all that. And if you're here in New York on Sunday, go to the museum. Have some fun.
Free.
Listen to Drake say some beautiful stories, and it's free.
Free. There may be prizes.
With that, folks, I do what I always do here. I'll press the button, and where it stops, nobody knows.